Warning: the following content is satire and is for comedic purposes only. Any comments, past or present, do not represent our values. Some viewers may find the following offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TNN CDRR. That is a long title. It's even longer if you spell it out. This is Central Division Rink-Side Report. I'm Brandon, and I'm here with my co-host, Cody.
Hello.
Shalom. There's been some things that have happened since the last time we spoke. My team decided they wanted to not play hockey anymore. How about the Avs? Let's start on a high here.
Man, if we would have recorded this a week ago when we were supposed to, I would have been much happier.
Yeah.
But since then, they've decided to lose against the Montreal Canadiens.
Right.
And then the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Right.
So that wasn't very good. But since the trade deadline, they look as good as they did when the year they won the cup. They look great.
Speaking of that trade, I was curious because there was some articles going around about the fact that Ryan Johansson, or who had the injury? There was someone that had an injury. Was it Ryan?
Yeah, so I had read some rumors that Ryan Johansson had injuries or something like that, which stops Philly from sending him down or buying him out or whatever. Listen, man, here's the likely scenario that I think is happening. That dude was injured and decided not to tell anybody about it while he was playing for the Avs because his career's on the line. And was hoping to get traded maybe somewhere else or at least continue his career. And then when he found out he was going to Philly and they had no intention of playing him, and he would have played for Torts doesn't like those type of players.
Yeah.
So he wouldn't be getting nice time even if he was staying with the NHL. I think he just probably was like, oh, I'm injured. I'm injured. I was injured.
Yeah.
But I was playing through it. That's kind of what I think. It has to be. But
I mean, the other option is that the Avs just didn't disclose that if they knew, which is dangerous for them and opens them up to a shitload of trouble.
Right, they've been pressed against the cap for a couple years now, and they have not got fancy about circumventing the cap. They didn't even use the LTIR that they could have used for Landy last year.
Right.
Landy didn't play. They used it for this year, and they were open with the entire fan base up front. We're going to use this cap space because we're not getting Landy back this year.
Yeah.
So even the year they won the cup, they didn't circumvent any cap. They didn't use LTIR. They didn't use I hate that Vegas does it every year, but kudos to them. They're using the system that they've been given. But the Avalanche has never exploited that. So I find it hard to believe that they would want to exploit the Ryan Johansson thing and just cover up an injury. I don't think so. That guy played. He was playing. He wasn't playing much because he sucks. But he was playing. You look at some of those guys like Makar. Makar never plays an 82-game season. He's very much one of those dudes that I don't think he plays through a lot of injuries. He'll take the rest and make sure that he's performing well. And so he'll take games off, a game or two here. You'll see he'll be gone for 2 or 3 games randomly because he's hurt.
Yeah.
And then he's back. So I don't know. I personally, my belief, I base this on nothing. It's just this guy knows his career is just about over, wanted to keep himself healthy, knew that he wasn't a fit in the locker room, knew he wasn't a fit for the team, and probably knew they were trying to shop him and was hoping to get a new opportunity. And when he found out that it was Philly, he then disclosed injuries that he had, that he was probably playing through to save his career.
Could
That's
be.
the only
I
thing that
mean,
makes sense
no
to
one's
me.
ever going to know for sure, right? Unless someone comes out and says it, but he's not going to admit it if it was him, and if it was one of the organizations, they're not going to admit it either, so it's just speculation.
I mean, don't suck and you wouldn't have got traded, dude. Put in some fucking effort.
Yeah.
Easy for me to say behind the computer, but that guy was lazy. When you look at everybody else on the ice, a lazy fucking player.
Yeah.
And, Nashville is paying half his salary for the next 2 years just to get rid of him for free. And Philly is going to dump him. And Colorado paid a first. Mind you, they got Sean Walker.
Yeah.
But they paid a first to, in part, get rid of him. So in the span of, 9 months, team has decided to pay half your salary for you to play for somebody else. And then you didn't even have to be the guy driving the line that you're on. You don't have to drive the team on Colorado. You just show up and do your job. And you couldn't do that. And now they traded a first-round pick to get rid of you.
Yeah.
And then Philly, who is, I guess, fighting for a playoff spot, but they're not expected to be any good. They were trading players away at the deadline, like Sean Walker, and they don't want to play you. They have no intention of playing you.
No. And try to pull the attitude of not wanting to play for Philly around Torts. I mean, doesn't end well. It's already been seen. Look at Cutter.
Yeah, nothing with Torts ends well, I don't think.
No.
That dude's a soundbite machine, and that's about it.
Yep. I actually had on here because I wrote this when he had been fined and suspended. What your thoughts were on I guess the events around it? Do you think it was a deserved suspension?
I'm of two minds of it. Torts has pulled a lot of shit in his career, a lot, and some of it's funny, and some of it is just super unprofessional. I think. But at the same time, one of the things that constantly is knocked about hockey is they don't sell the players. They don't sell personalities. They don't give them a chance to be, people and connect with people in that manner. And one thing that Torts has always done is, like him or hate him, he draws attention.
Yeah.
And he is entertaining. I think it's good for the league to have at least some personality.
Yeah.
And them suspending him further supports the notion that they want everybody to be robots, stick to the script, don't sway off and have your own opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always been that. Any sort of even a backhanded comment about the league has gotten suspensions and fines and things like that. So yes, you want to keep the league prestigious, but you're also, again, I mean, this comes back to one of our previous episodes where the league is run by a bunch of dinosaurs that are out of touch with the public.
You can't market the product for today.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it was funny. That there's instances where it is just kind of funny, and he's not even gonna have to pay the fine because it was the president or the owner that said he was gonna pay it, and his suspension is obviously over with now. But then there's instances where he was asked about a player in a press conference, and he kind of just threw up his hands and slammed them down on the table and did that again, and then he walked off without answering the reporter's questions, and I'm like, that's a different thing. The reporter had a right to ask those questions, and you're gonna act like a child and walk off. It's it's hard to like the guy when he's also got that side of him, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's be honest. This dude's 65. I was just looking it up because I was pretty sure he was in his mid-60s.
Yeah,
he's 65 years old. That's not a good look, man.
No.
Some of the things he's doing, some of it's funny.
Yeah.
When he the first time around, when he the one player that made up something or
right, the Kevin Hayes
allegedly
comment,
allegedly made up something, or maybe he heard something he wasn't supposed to share, whatever. Him slapping him down in the media press interview was awesome. It was funny.
Yeah.
Because it keeps the reporters accountable for what they're saying.
Yeah, and he stood by his guy, right?
And he stood by his guy, right? That's the big thing. He stood by his guy. But him continuing to do it and continuing to blackball this guy, come on, man.
Yeah, he made a mistake. He's just trying to do his job, and
you taught him a lesson, right? Why are you doubling down on this? What's the point?
Yeah, I agree, and that's the side of Torts. It's just he's a decent coach. With his personality, he's he could have a real presence in the league, and it doesn't have to muddy down the water with these petty differences, I guess.
I mean, he has, right? The problem with Torts is he'll cross the line and then he'll keep going. And it's like, dude, just cross the line and stay there.
Yeah.
Like, don't keep running. But he does, right? Like, what was it? This is a few years ago when he was in, I think it was New York, and he went through a garbage can and like somebody in the locker room. Like, come on, dude. Like, you're 60.
Yeah.
You're fucking old. That's the type of shit that like hothead 18-year-olds, 20-year-olds do.
Well, it's like Trevor Zegras breaking the camera with his stick. Like, that's the same energy there, Torts.
It's not a good look.
No. I think Zegras got a fine for that as well.
I mean, those cameras are expensive. You probably should.
Yeah. You brought up Nashville with the trade. I kind of wanted to circle back to that because they were, I don't know what their record is lately, but they were on a freaking tear there.
They're 6-3-1 in the last 10 now.
Yeah.
Colorado helped break that streak.
Yeah, that's good.
But they went on a friggin' run.
Yeah.
And how'd you like to be Trenin, right? I think it's Yakov Trenin, who got traded from Nashville to Colorado. Like, he was part of that win streak in Nashville.
Yeah.
I think it was like 13 games or whatever. And then he got traded to Colorado, and then Colorado went on a 10-game streak.
The man's
like, dude
high of highs.
Dude went a quarter of a season without losing a game.
That's got to be some sort of record in itself.
Yeah, that's wild. I thought that was pretty crazy. But yeah, if you would have asked me that in the offseason,
no,
that would have been the most surprising thing in the world to me, because that team on paper is not a good team.
Yeah.
But obviously they're finding a way to work for each other and play above I think their talent level.
Yeah.
Outside of UC Soros and Roman Yossi and probably Philip Forsberg. Like those three dudes are dudes. But like, who else they got?
Yeah. Honestly, right? I couldn't tell you, because
yeah, I mean, they're not flush with talent. They've done a lot of selling. They decided to. I
did hear the reason that they started winning those because they got told they couldn't go to the U2 concert in Vegas. So we have U2 to thank for that.
Again, thank you, Bono. You know,
you did something.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean that's not a good team. Surprisingly, Ryan O'Reilly's still being effective, which is good. I don't think they're gonna like that contract in 2 years from now, but maybe, you know. And Ryan Zucker's having a good, like, pretty good since coming over in the trade deadline, and Nyquist coming over the trade deadline. But like, you look on paper,
they're just some guys.
That's not a good team. You know, Alex Carrier's a good D-man, and Ryan McDonough still seems to have some jam. That's great. But the rest of that team, yikes. Yeah, you're building a team off of that, and kudos to them. They've been successful. Yeah. Maybe some of these younger guys are actually going to be real players, but I just think it kind of reminds me of Vegas's first year, where it's like, oh, well, you're the miscasts, you know, nobody's expecting anything out of you. And I think a lot of people had Nashville pegged as like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You guys paid a shit ton of money to get guys, which signals strip it down, let's rebuild it, let's burn it down, build it back up. Great. A lot of people were on board with that. And then they went and turned around and signed a bunch of old dudes to long contracts and free agency. And it's like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah. Like,
make up your mind. But hey, seems to have worked for them. They're going to get their ass kicked in the first round. So, I mean, enjoy your 4 playoff games, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, good for them. That's like, it's good to ride the highs, and it is something special that they did it this year. But obviously, they should be focusing on the grand prize that every team goes for every year. And I don't know. Hopefully, they figure it out. I mean, it's always good to see a team succeed. As funny as it was to watch the Sharks fail, I mean, you know, it's still like a pro NHL team. Like, I'm not preying on anyone's downfall.
No, I mean, I just good for hockey. Good for Nashville, I guess. Yeah. You know, I worry for them, that franchise, that they're just gonna become, you know, Calgary Central Division edition.
Yeah.
Right. It's called the Calgary Zone for a reason. They have been mediocre for years because they refuse to rebuild and they don't have the pieces to be better than what they
Just
are.
gonna check the Jets and the Calgary game just because I don't want to watch this age poorly.
I mean,
All right, we're
they're
still
up
ahead
3-2
3-2.
still.
Okay.
Oh, it looks like Colorado just scored too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Eat it, Minnesota. But like that's the problem Calgary's been in. Like
Yeah.
they've never been bad enough to get a high pick to get better, and they've never been good enough to attract a huge amount of talent and make a go for it.
Yeah.
And I think Nashville they are gearing themselves up for the same thing Calgary's doing.
Well, and
you know,
those players you mentioned, like they're gonna get pissed off too that like nothing's being done and they're in the same position. And Calgary pushed Tkachuk out, and he didn't want to stay anymore if he wasn't gonna get what he wanted, so he left. And like I think Nashville's Goudreau, yeah, I think it's the same story. It's gonna happen. I mean, players get fed up. When things aren't changing.
I mean, you're right to a point, but who do they got? Really, like who do they got that is like all-star league talent that may not want to stay there? Like Yossi signed for another 4 years after this year. Philip Forsberg signed forever.
True.
And they got Saros. He signed next year, so he might leave. Sure, Saros might leave. But at the same time, he's got it pretty good in Nashville, and if they don't want to trade him to rebuild, they have the money to keep that dude around. They can just pay him a shit ton of money, and he can take that job. I mean, there's only, 31 other of those jobs in the league, so he might just take it. So I think they got themselves in a pretty good spot where they don't have to worry about their star power being like, oh, I've had enough. I'm out of here, because they don't have any. And the star power that they have is locked up.
Yeah.
You think 37-year-old Roman Yossi is going to be a concern that he leaves 4 years from now from Nashville? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Like, oh no. 37-year-old Roman Yossi doesn't want to re-sign with Nashville. But there's also the belief, man, like as long as you can punch your ticket to the playoffs, anything can happen. And that's true. That's the one thing that's nice about hockey. It is true, but like that's not a good team, I don't think, on paper. And I just don't see how they have a lot of the building blocks. I mean, they got quite a few second-round picks next year, and they got an extra first because they got Tampa's entire draft for Jeannot.
Oh my god,
makes no sense, but hey, good on them. They sold high on that. Whatever. But we'll see. It's weird. It's a weird decision to retain on Rijo and retain on Ekholm. So now you have 2 year retain slots gone, and then to buy out Duchesne. I can't believe that you weren't able to convince Matt Duchesne to be traded. I'm sure there was trades on the table for him because Matt Duchene's still good. And he's better than Rijo, and you got somebody to bite on Rijo. Yikes. But I think Duchesne was just like, no, I'm going to use my NMC. I'm not being traded. And they're like, fine, we'll buy you out, I guess. But like, it's just a weird decision for them. But it's 4-2 Winnipeg now.
Nice.
Agent really good.
Yes. Velarde, nice. I want to talk about we've been kind of batting it back and forth the last few episodes, but the way that the league is run, and the fact that they don't market to younger audiences, I have seen a little bit of a shift now because it seems like they are hiring people in the millennial Gen Z demographic to run their social medias, because there's actually some good TikToks that I've seen where, each team has their social media representative go around and do challenges or ask questions. They did a segment with Landeskog. I think it was dad jokes.
Dad jokes.
So
I love that.
I am happy to see that they are doing more of that, because it does feel like they're trying to appeal to their younger audience in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, I can only really speak for Colorado because obviously that's the one I follow, and they do like cool little access videos and stuff. They just did one on like behind the scenes of what the trade deadline looks like, and I thought that was really neat. you know, a little peek behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. And like Colorado's, especially like this new leadership group, Sakic and McFarland and stuff, they're going on like podcasts and things like that and talking to people, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that they're doing stuff, but that's not the league, right? That's the individual teams.
Yeah.
I think the league on itself, like, okay, here's a snippet for you. This is going to be controversial take. I think Gary Bettman overall has been good for the NHL. And what I mean by that is he has succeeded in bringing parity in the NHL with the cap. Feel how you want about the lockouts. Feel how you want about the current structure of how the salary cap works and how easy it is to circumvent. But it has brought parity. There are teams that were on the tippy top that are absolute garbage now. And that's how it should be. There should be a cycle to keep things competitive.
Yes.
And I think he's done good. But that dude needs to fucking quit and retire.
Yeah.
He's old. He's out of touch. People like him, Lou Lamoriello, like, let people have facial
dinosaurs.
hair. Nobody cares that your hockey team, oh, you need to look professional, you know, shave your mustache. Nobody cares. This is the world where you go into any building and you see people with piercings, tattoos, facial hairs, and it's just normal North American life. Who cares? Exactly. Nobody cares, man. And so I think people like that need to go, and somebody younger or at least more in touch or more willing to be in touch needs to be running the show. Like the stuff they're doing at the PWHL, have you read some of like how their divisions go and how their lottery draft system works?
Yeah.
It is dope. It's so
sense.
cool. It makes sense. It keeps things competitive. It's interesting.
Yeah.
And like they're trying things, and I like that. And I wish the NHL would try fun things.
Yeah.
I don't think they do a lot of that. I mean, I like 3-on-3 overtime. That's cool. I think that's fun. I like the shootout at the end of the game. That's fun every once in a while. I don't like how the point system works. And fans complain about it all the time.
There's no
Why aren't you guys
punishment.
doing something about it?
There should be a bigger punishment for losing. There's no reason that teams with so many OTLs are, you know.
Dallas, looking at you,
Yeah.
Dallas.
Yeah, exactly. I think like maybe the PWHL has more control over that in a sense because this is newer for them and they're able to kind of start out on this foot where the NHL is so archaic that they're so set in their ways because they think, okay, well, this works. Why change anything?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Definitely. Maybe the NHL, because I think they're supporting some of the PWHL. Maybe they're recommending, hey, try this.
Yeah.
We might want to implement this into the league. Because they did that with 3-on-3 overtime. They did it to the AHL. They're like, you guys are doing this year. We're going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
Like, that's smart. Okay, I'm fine with that. But, like, be active about doing those sort of things. Why is there not eye in the sky ref? Why is that not a thing? Why do you have the world's shittiest cameras for blue line? And you're calling, like, trying to call millimeters of whether something's offside or not. Like a play that ended, like you went slightly offside 45 seconds ago before you scored. That has nothing to do with the play that led to the goal. That's not a goal. It's like, get out of your own way.
Yeah.
But I don't think that happens until somebody else takes charge.
Oh, yeah.
And somebody with a different mindset.
And Gary Bettman will be there until his dying day.
Well, I mean, he looks like a crib keeper, so that might not be long. But it would be fun. It would be fun to see them get out of their own way and just be like, hey, we're implementing new rules, so there's less whistles. We're implementing a 3-point system so that overtime and shootouts aren't really worth it, and we are encouraging players to end it in regulation.
Yeah, and perhaps, just perhaps, they set some precedent so that when someone does something, we might actually know what to fucking expect.
Oh, yeah. What's goaltender interference? Brandon, do you know?
It changes every game I watch, so I just can't keep up.
I have literally watched it change within the game. Where you're watching, and penalties are like that too, a lot, man. Where you're like, okay, you've set the precedence, and then the next period, it's like, oh, okay, I guess that didn't matter then. That precedence is no longer a thing. Okay, neat. And then when playoffs gets there, they just put the whistles away, which is great. It's fun to watch, but like, it's almost like playing a different game. It's a game within a game, and it's like the rules change. Weird.
Yeah. Well, we can hope, but until Bevan's gone, that's not going to happen. He was, I think they had like a teams meeting where they got all the representatives for the teams with Bettman to talk about rule changes and how the league was running. Says there are no problems with how LTIR is set up. He also said,
why would they admit that they're fucking up somewhere?
And he also stated that there's nothing wrong with the playoff seeding and it's going to stay as it is.
The playoff seeding is fucking horrendous. I hate it. I understand they're trying to build like rivalries and shit.
Yeah.
But like it gets really tiring, even a big hockey fan that I am, seeing the same fucking teams play each other every fucking playoff.
Yeah.
How many times did we see Washington and Pittsburgh play each other? Fucking hell.
And how many times the Crosby and Ovechkin set up?
1 versus 16. 2 versus 15. Reward those teams that are better.
The same fucking teams playing each other. It's like, it'd be nice to have some variety. I'd love to see, Toronto not play Boston.
Right?
Like, I get it. They have a feud. They've had a feud forever. It's understood through.
They've been around for over 100 years. Let's really lean into this for the next 100.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
I think people have their problems with the LTIR as well. I don't know if it's just Vegas management is better at doing it, or if just teams don't have
I think Vegas just has deep pockets. They have really deep pockets, and I think they can afford to do it. And like I say, kudos to them. I think being able to use LTIR as a cap weapon is smart.
Yeah.
It encourages players, like teams that don't have a lot of money, to be like, hey, we'll trade you this guy's contract. You guys take care of that money side, and then you can spend over. Sure. I actually don't really have a problem with that. Or at least having some sort of encouragement for that. But like, why not just not have LTIR? Why don't you just do a daily salary cap? Okay, every day you need to be under 85 million. Okay, who's playing today? X, Y, and Z. Okay, you're good. Are you over? Well, technically speaking, because Mark Stone is injured again. Well, if Mark Stone stopped playing the game, his cap shouldn't count. And like, I'm sure there will be teams that exploit that. Yeah. So fine, you have to say like, this player has to play X amount of games. If he's a healthy scratch, his cap still counts. If he's actually injured, then it doesn't count that day.
Yeah.
And you get around it that way. And maybe you have a hard cap where it's like, you can't sign players worth more than this cap at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. Doesn't matter if they're injured, anything. Like, this is it. And then have a daily cap. Or like something like that. The NHL salary cap is overly convoluted.
Yeah. Well, other leagues do it, and it's not this bad.
It's just like the money doesn't match the cap, and then like you get daily accruals. So like when you get to the trade deadline, you actually can spend more money because you saved money that you didn't spend. And then in the playoffs, the salary cap doesn't even matter.
No.
What? It's dumb.
Yeah, and if Mark Stone wasn't able to play like the last game of the regular season, but he's magically healthy for game 1 of the playoffs, it's
right.
Just like, that's very convenient.
The problem is there is going to be an instance where a guy gets injured and doesn't play the last game of the season, or you want to rest your guys. But yeah, I think when you're using like on a big contract for an extended amount of time to acquire pieces at the deadline, and you're like, oh, he's injured. Oh, he's better for game one.
Yeah.
It just happened to be that way. Like, come on, we know. Everybody knows. It's not that convenient. And even if it was, you still taking advantage of the system. Who was it? Vegas acquired like somebody's contract just so they could spend over. And I think Tampa did it too. And it's like that shouldn't be allowed. You should not be able to trade a player when he's injured. Like I knew you, Ryan Johansson, but on LTIR, even if they're never going to play again, like just moving that money around seems stupid. I think the NHL could do a lot better job with that. I think they should increase retention slots if they want to, like, still promote, like, hey, you shitty team, like, we're going to give you opportunities to recoup draft picks. It's like, okay, give them more retention slots then. But I don't like it. I don't like how the system works, but like Vegas is just using the system that's there.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but they are.
It's like people saying they're cheating. They're not cheating. They're just using the rules to their advantage, which is what every team should be doing.
But every team doesn't have the bankroll to do it.
And I guess that's the kind of unfair thing of it all, is because there's so many of these teams that have been in the league forever, and they've spent a lot of money, and they can't use something that would save them some money because they are so deep in it. And Vegas isn't.
Yeah, and Vegas is like showing they do not give a shit about having any sort of farm team or prospects or draft picks. They're just going for it hard. Just like every year.
I mean, if they make a name for themselves early into their, time in the league, like, people are going to remember.
Yeah.
People are going to remember that.
And they won a cup in their first 6 years. Good for them. 10 years from now, they're going to be the worst team in the league, and they're going to have nothing because the cupboards are bare. Which is totally fine. That's the way it should go. Yeah. But also, teams don't have that type of capital.
No.
Like, if I go and look at the apps, like, they're done, man. They pushed all other chips to the table for their 2022 run. And they moved some pieces, Byram at the trade deadline. They got nothing to give. They don't have, like, I mean, they got a couple of good players coming up, but like they need those guys to replace other dudes. They can't really sell them unless they're getting up equal value into the system.
Yeah.
And Vegas is just like, fuck it, go. So kudos to them, but I don't like it.
No. You want to talk about the Ross?
Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. But first, I want to talk about Ovi again.
Okay,
just to piss more people off.
Yeah.
Do you think he's gonna hit 30?
What's he at?
He scored 27. He's scored 27 tonight. It's 27.
I think it's possible. I mean, obviously he had a bad start to the season, but he's Ovi.
He's got like a career low in shooting percentage this year, even with going off the last couple months. I think he'll hit 30.
Yeah.
Like, you see that Dylan Strome pass where he's like gave up a sick goal that he could have gotten. He's just like, they're just trying to get him to 30. Like, give him the fucking record.
I mean, I think it's possible. Obviously, his teammates are, supporting him. And he's Ovi. At the end of the day, he's still a pro athlete, even if he is, getting old. He's old.
Well, I saw the picture of him with Subway and the cheesy. Yeah. Most relatable hockey player ever. But holy shit, that dude looks like he's 50.
Yeah.
He's looking real old. And then you look at Sidney Crosby and he still looks 12.
Yep.
They're the same age. But I think he's gonna hit 30.
Yeah.
I hope he does. Him. I want him to hit 30. I just want him to break the record, so I never have to hear the conversation about like, he would have if this.
Oh yeah.
Just break it. Do it.
Break it.
And everyone will be like, we never thought this would be broken. It hasn't been broken since Gretzky. And then, you know what? 15 years from now, Austin Matthews is going to fucking shatter that record because he's not going to have like all the lockouts and the COVID. Like, well, I guess he has a COVID season, but he's going to shatter that record and they'll be like, just about, man. Just about. You have it for like a few years. I'm convinced Austin Matthews is going to break that record. I think he's going to be the first player to 1,000 goals. If he stays healthy and there's no more stupid lockouts, that dude's fucking on fire.
Oh, God, yeah.
Back-to-back 60-goal seasons. Back-to-back 60.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear him in the Art Ross conversation. Or not Art Ross, Hart. I don't want to hear it.
No.
The Maurice Richard Rocket trophy exists for scoring goals. That doesn't then automatically give you the Hart. Everybody's like, well, what if he scores 70? He has to win it. Why? That's what that trophy's for.
Yeah.
The fucking trophies in the NHL are dumb.
Yeah. I mean,
like, Selke, best defensive forward. Well, you only win that if you put a shit ton of points up, too.
Yeah.
Norris seems to be the highest scoring defenseman. As long as you're somewhat capable in your back end. And the only time, like, your real defensive acumen comes into question is when it's like a tight race. It's like, well, it could be this guy. Well, this guy edges him out because he's better on the defense or he plays more time on the PK. But if you don't have like 60+ points, you're not winning it. McDavid, they're like, oh, if he gets 100 assists, it hasn't been done since Gretzky.
Yeah.
Like, he has to win the fucking Hart. Why? The Art Ross is a trophy he keeps winning. And he's going to win it again this year.
Well, I saw him, McKinnon, and Kucherov on a little graphic on Sportsnet. And then in a little banner in the on the bottom there, they had to throw in Austin Matthews. And it's like, why? He's nowhere near these other three. I mean, yeah, he's had a killer season. He's done really well. He is an all-star. He is a superstar.
He scored a shit ton of goals.
Yeah, but why are you including
Collect
him
your
in this fucking
Maurice
graphic?
Richard the Rocket trophy. Yeah. Collect your Richard trophy, man. That's it. Go home.
I mean, just like the rules, the fucking trophies feel very vague and just nonsensical.
Yeah, it's nuts. I think it's such a biased opinion, but McKinnon should win the Hart because he's keeping pace with McDavid and with Kucherov. I don't think he's going to win the Art Ross. I think McDavid's going to take it in the last game of the season. He's just too good.
Yeah.
I hate that, but just for 1 year, give it to my guy. But fine, he's going to win it. That's totally cool. And here's the reason why: is those dudes have both already won the Hart, and I know it's supposed to be based off of this season, but like, yes, they've put up impressive numbers. Yeah, McDavid's going to do 100 assists. Great. And Kucherov and McDavid and McKinnon are going to get 130+ points this season. That's impressive. But McKinnon's been the engine of Colorado the entire year.
Yeah.
He is in the top 3 in both goals and assists, not one or the other like the other dudes are. And he's number 1 in 5-on-5 points. And he's breaking all sorts of records. Like second longest home streak with points when he went 35 games. And that fucking game he lost it, he should have got that assist. But he scored in like all but one of his home games. He's got a point. He's had 2 4-point goals. And if you look just at like Colorado's franchise, they have never had a 4-goal performance. And McKinnon had 2 in the same year. And he just continues to do it. He's been the number 1 star in the NHL 2 months. And he's been number 2 1 month. He's been like in the top 3 stars of the week, like more times than not, I think. Like he's doing it. Like these other guys are like great, but I think McKinnon's crushing it. And the one year he came runner up to the Hart, it was when Taylor Hall won. And Taylor Hall won because, well, McKinnon has Rantanen. And then so the next year McKinnon was up high. I don't know if he got nominated, but like he was up there and he was having a good year and everybody was like, oh yeah. And then McDavid won it. And it was like, well, okay, so like it doesn't apply because he has Draisaitl, I guess.
Yeah.
And Rantanen's had a 100-point year this year, but it's been a quiet 100-point years. Like he's getting his, but like McKinnon's making it happen. Look at Drouin's points. I mean, that dude gets credit for pulling himself together, and he hasn't always been playing with McKinnon, but he's been playing with McKinnon. That helps. And I don't know. It's such a biased opinion, but I just think McKinnon deserves the Hart this year, especially because he's going to lose the Art Ross in the last 2 weeks here.
Yeah. McDavid is a beast.
That dude's I thought it was so weird how he just wasn't getting points early on, and then he just came on like a fucking avalanche.
Came on
not Colorado. Like an unstoppable train.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. He just came on like an unstoppable train. And I mean, that dude's won the Art Ross, what, like 6 years out of 7 or something like that? Like, dude's insane. It's like him or Dreisaitl.
Yeah.
It's almost like they play on the same team, and both are really good.
Who do you think
So,
is going to win the Norris?
who do I think should win the Norris? I think Quinn Hughes is going to win.
Yeah.
I still kind of think, it'd be nice to see Kale win it again. Kale, as last time I checked, he was tied with Quinn Hughes and he's played 5 less games because he's injured. So again, because the Norris is kind of about points, like I think the top 3 dudes this year are probably going to be Yossi, Makar, and Hughes. And I think Hughes is going to win. And I think part of the reason Hughes is going to win is because Vancouver sucked ass last year, and they are in first in their division this year.
Yeah.
And I think Quinn Hughes is a big part of that. I also think Quinn Hughes is a really good defenseman. And the same way I feel about McKinnon, where it's like he's fucking done enough to put his name in. If he got the Hart, or if he gets the Hart Trophy, nobody's going to bat an eye because it makes sense. But if somebody else get it, nobody's going to bat an eye because it makes sense. But he's kind of owed one. I think same thing with Quinn Hughes. I think Makar and him are probably neck and neck, but he'll get it because he hasn't got one. And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I would love to see Makar get another Norris because it would be nuts to be 25-years old, have a Hobie Baker, a Stanley Cup, a Conn Smythe, 2 Norris trophies, a Calder. Like, real good. But like the narrative around it I haven't really liked all year, where it's like Quinn Hughes he's the fastest player to this, and it's like, well, like 8 games later Makar breaks that. So they're like, oh, Quinn Hughes is the first player. It's like, yeah, well, he's played more games, just give it some time, but he is also younger than Makar. So yeah, I think he'll win it.
How
about here? I have a question for you. Who's going to win the Selkie now that Bergeron isn't part of the league? I think Barkov's going to win again.
Yeah.
I think he's just going to be the new Bergeron, where it's like, give it to him every year. When somebody has a spectacular year, I guess we'll give it to them once.
Yeah. Trying to think who else. I mean, that part of the game has been kind of... There's less light shown on that than the goal scoring aspect of the game. So it's kind of hard
points.
Yeah, it's about the goals. It's about breaking those records. So it's kind of hard to pin down anyone that would.
I put it money on it. We'll circle back to this at awards shows later this summer. I think it's going to be Barkov. I think Quinn Hughes is going to win the Norris.
Bedard
is going to win the Calder. I think McKinnon's going to win the Hart. Obviously, Austin Matthews is going to get the Richard.
Who's going to win Vezina?
I think McDavid's going to win the Art Ross. And Hellebuck's going to get the Vezina.
Yeah.
He's having a great season. He's so good. Actually, when the NHL players go back to the Olympics, like, America actually scares me now. They have so good players, and they have Hellebuck in net. And like, you look at Canada's goaltending, and you're like, yikes! Is it too late to call Marty Brodeur out of retirement?
Well, apparently he thinks goalies are too soft. So
yeah, I mean, look at him. He's looking a little soft these days too. So especially around the center. But yeah.
Do you think there's who else do you think is going to be nominated for Vezina? I mean, Demko's had a good year.
Demko's definitely going to get his. I think so. That makes a lot of sense. And probably one or both of the Boston guys, maybe.
Right.
Like those guys like Allmark and Swayman. Like those, they're going to have to make a move this summer.
Yeah.
To unload one of those guys. But like, good for them. Like, they got like 2 really, really good goalies.
It's very rare nowadays.
Yeah, I think more teams go to the 1A, 1B type of goaltending now, more than they used to in the past. not looking at the Avalanche, but like a lot of teams do that, and I think it's smart, but it's wild to have two starter caliber goalies of that level on the same team and just be like, hey,
I mean,
we're good.
I mean, the Jets do have Brossoit, but like it's not the same level.
I think
but he's a
Brossoit's a great backup.
Yeah, he is a great backup.
And I classify him as 1B. I would, Pavel Francouz of Colorado, who is, I guess, now going to retire because of injuries, which sucks.
Yeah.
Like, same caliber. Like, that dude can start games for you and he can be your starter for you. You don't want him to be your starter because he's not quite good enough, but he's, like, good enough where it's like, I mean, he played, 6 games in the playoffs the year the Avs won the cup, and they played 16 games. He played 6 of them and won all of them. Like,
I wouldn't be worried at all
handedly.
if Brossoit ended up starting some playoff games, and there's already people talking about resting Hellebuyck. Give Brossoit a few more games to close the season off. Rest up Hellebuyck for the playoffs, and if need be, like, you can trust Brossoit to start a couple games if Hellebuyck needs a little extra rest, or if you want to give him the best shot. I think it's great. Brossoit plays great. It seems like the team trust him in the net, and I wouldn't mind it at all if we see him in a few playoff games.
I mean, you don't want to, though, because typically when you're seeing them, things have gone real bad for your team, or there's an injury. Like, that's why Francouz was in for Colorado, is because Kemper got the stick to the eye, right?
Yeah, obviously, don't want Hellebuyck getting hurt. I mean, I know Demko got hurt a little while ago. I'm not sure if he's back.
I don't. Yeah, I haven't followed whether he's back or not. I should, because I have him in my hockey pool, but I stopped looking after that because I was losing real bad. But yeah, I mean, if he's not back, he should be back soon, you would think. But
yeah.
Oh no, he's still on LTIR. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well, good thing they have the Smith, I guess. Yeah. Hopefully he comes back for them on their playoff run.
Yeah, that would kind of suck if you had to sit that out.
I mean, that's the one thing I don't like, even as a hockey fan. Like, I want my team to win a cup, but like, I want best on best.
Well, that's why
it was the one thing, like,
bringing the Olympics back.
Oh yeah, but like the year the Avs won their cup when they played like Edmonton. Like, I wish Draisaitl would have been healthy. I think that series would have been a lot closer.
Yeah.
And would have caused me a lot more stress. But like, I would have preferred that, because like that dude was literally playing on one leg. Here's a question for you. Monahan, still looking pretty good, eh?
Yeah.
Do you think the Jets are going to be able to convince him to stay around? I think he's a good fit for the team.
Yeah, I hope so. He seems to be doing well on the second C there. Every time I've seen him on the ice, he seems to be good. I didn't really catch much of the game tonight, though. I caught the first period. Toffoli had a chance early on in the first period, so he's worked out well as well.
Toffoli's dope. Yeah. I don't think you guys will keep him.
Oh no, I think the consensus within the Jets community has kind of been, if we can keep one of them, it would rather be Monahan over Toffoli. Which I'm fine with. I think that's a good move.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 19 points in the 27 games he's been over. Like, that's great. Yeah. That's great production. I think as long as he's healthy, Monahan's biggest problem, at least from my standpoint, has always been his skating. And the Jets aren't based on. They're not like. They're not pitting all their entire game on skating and transition. No.
That being said, tonight they did pair him between Ehlers and Perfetti, which I thought was pretty cool, because both of those guys can rip pretty fast. And it's good to see Fetz move up a little bit. I think Niederreiter got cut with a skate or something. He wasn't playing, so he was scratched. I don't know if it's serious. But, yeah, seeing Perfetti move up to the second line is pretty cool, and I hope maybe they play him a little bit more there.
I think Perfetti is the reason why you can target Monahan and let Toffoli walk, because you have Perfetti.
Yeah.
I say this, I think, every podcast, but I think Winnipeg has like the best wings in the league.
Yeah.
Like Ehlers, Velarde, Connor, Perfetti,
Mestikov,
Toffoli,
yeah.
Appleton, Nina Ryder,
Yeah.
Iafallo. Come on.
Well, Needs you can put on either wing, right? So he's fucking
Yeah.
universal up and down the lineup. Like, literally use him
Neat.
anywhere.
Oh, he's great.
Mhm.
I loved that trade when you guys made that trade for him.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good fit.
Mhm.
But like, yeah, those are some great wings.
Yeah,
Like,
and there's a couple
great
guys in on the Moose. I know they've called Fajalbi up before. Rutger McGorty, I think. He's one of their university players. He's doing pretty well. He plays for the University of Michigan. So there's a couple assets that they can call up.
McGroarty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if only you guys had defensemen.
Yeah. That's still one thing that I wish they would sort out, but
although most of you guys have been playing better this year. And Colin Miller, how's he been?
He was scratched tonight, I think. I haven't seen too much of him. I mean, nothing's really standing out. It's been all right.
I mean, that's what you want in a third pairing defenseman.
Yeah.
In my opinion, if you don't notice your third pairing defenseman on a night, that's a good night.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing smart because, like I said, I haven't really noticed that he's been standing out. He hasn't done anything stupid in front of the net, so.
I'm excited to talk about off-season moves. I love off-season.
Mm-hmm.
I love roster baiting. It's my favorite. I'll have so much to talk about when that comes. Okay, so final thoughts here. Who do you think's gonna take the President's Trophy at the end of this season?
God, it is close, isn't it?
It's so close. I cannot believe Dallas is as high as they are.
Right? I don't know. I mean, I never want to count Boston out because they're always on fire, it seems. The Rangers have had a really good year. How many games does Vancouver have?
They're at 76. They have 102 points, though. I think Boston's gonna win again, personally. That or it looks like maybe New York.
It's hard to count Boston out. I'm gonna go with the Rangers just to be different.
Okay, I'm going Boston.
But
somehow with zero first or second line center, they have managed to put themselves in position to win a President's Trophy again, I guess.
But yeah, I think the Rangers are just killing it this year, and if they can continue at the same pace, I think they can secure that. Yeah,
I think so. They have a really good chance.
It's going to be Dallas, and we're both going to be wrong.
There's no way Dallas wins. I can't handle it.
Circle back to this when it happens.
They've always been such like a, hey, we'll win every game 2-1, and they have no offense. They're always good at defense, but now like they got some young dudes that are like really good offensively. I hate it.
Murdered Edmonton.
They murdered Colorado a few times.
Yeah.
Although actually, I think Colorado still holds the winning record for their home or like their division games. I think the only team that Colorado has got murked by is the Jets, who looks to be the team they're going to play in the first round. So that'll be interesting.
It will be.
But yeah, it'll be interesting in the last couple of weeks. It's real tight.
Yeah.
Real tight.
I'd say we get together once more maybe before the playoffs start, and then we can kind of talk about playoffs and what we think about that.
Well, playoffs start on the 20th, apparently.
Yeah.
So we should meet up after the regular season ends.
Yes.
Talk about the regular season. Talk about how close
and I hope the Jets
was
get
to
their
getting an Art Ross
together.
trophy.
Those extra games.
They got time. They just won. They won tonight. They'll be able to turn it. I think they.
Yeah, I was never like super worried because I'm like, everyone's got bad streaks. Fucking Vancouver went on a bad losing streak. Colorado went on a bad losing streak.
You don't have to remind me. I'm aware.
But the best go through it. So like, as long as they can get their shit together through playoffs, as long as Hellebuck is up to par for playoffs, they've got the depth scoring now. They've added assets that have increased their depth scoring. I think they'll be fine. They just gotta fucking play their game and stay consistent.
I think right now, all the teams in the playoffs, like the focus shouldn't be winning games. It should be finding consistency, coming out with the same intensity throughout, playing a full 60, and
treat every game like a playoff game.
Treat every game like the playoff game, right? That's the whole idea of this game, is a ramping up so that you are tight.
Yeah.
Right? I liken it to when I play music before we play a gig, we play all our songs over and over again, make sure we're really tight, we know what we're doing, we're comfortable, we're not making mistakes, we're not thinking, making second guesses. And that's really what they need to be doing right now. So I don't think it really matters how many pucks are going in the back of their net, as long as they're coming out with a consistent effort.
Yeah.
They'll get theirs, right? The best teams in the entire NHL, best seasons are still have 20 plus losses. So that's like a quarter of a season.
Yeah.
That's just reality. And again, going back to Bettman's parody, is like that outside of Tampa, like that just really doesn't happen. Teams are going to lose 30 plus games a season, the best teams. So
thank you guys for listening to us ramble. This is only on YouTube, so if you are just listening, that's a bit weird. You can watch our faces as well. Don't watch our faces. If you enjoyed this episode or anything else we create here on TNN, all the links are down below to go check out. We've got merch. We've got podcasts on all the listening platforms. Go check out Aim for Theo. They're also in the description down below. And thank you guys for watching. We will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.